man.
What up, though? Welcome back to Landing on Mars podcast, the dopest podcast in the galaxy. I'm your host, Nesto the Spitter, aka Nesto on Mars, aka I be Nesto, aka you can call me whatever you want to call me, just don't call me lazy or call me broke. You dig? But nah, this is a very exciting one. Excuse the chair. We in new grounds right now, and this is episode 6. Well, this would be episode 7 of Landing on Mars. But in reality, me starting the podcast, I started Let's Make a Toast. I had 3 episodes in on that. So ultimately, this one would be my 10th episode. So this would probably be wrapping up season 1 of Let's Make a Toast. Because I was planning on doing 10 episodes. Yeah. And this is a special one because this is the first one that we are at the new location where I will be broadcasting and I will be doing my podcast. So I like to give a big shout out to Danny and Miss Barbara here at Danny's and Barbara's Barbershop here in San Marcos, Texas, off of San Antonio Street. I will be doing a little ad for them, but right now I just want to say I really appreciate you. I wanted to give them a shout out and just make sure that I let you know this is where I will be broadcasting now. So I really appreciate them believing in me and allowing me to be here after hours, because this is live. I ain't even BSing. And in front of me, I have a homie that I've known for a pretty good while. Started working with him, and as we were working, we kind of noticed that, hey man, we and him kind of been by each other our whole lives. We just never really knew that. But today, my guest, I got the homie Shawn. That boy Shawn, Shawn Dawn.
I'm the homie.
You did. He's the homie. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking your time and sharing this moment with me. Like, real talk, he was here when the doors were being open. He was here when the setup was going on. So I really appreciate that. But
that's no problem, man.
How are you feeling, Shawn? How have things been going for you?
Dude, they've been going as best as they can in this pandemic Lovato. Man, we're doing the best we can. But I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Just keeping the momentum going, trying to just drop as much content as I probably can. And like I said, it's different levels. So it's different levels, and I feel like I'm up a level. You know what I mean? I keep going
level
up.
You can't go down.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? When you're down, at least you got to go up. But yeah, man. So I know you said like the pandemic Demi Lovato or whatever. This dude always
I got a word for everything.
He always has some slick. He's always had a slick mouth on him. Like, you know what I mean? But this is one person that I know. If you're having a bad day, you talk to him. He's gonna make you smile. He's gonna make you forget about what you were going through. Like
or make you feel worse.
either or. You know what I mean? It goes either way. But so with everything going on, man, like. How, I know you were telling me earlier, what's going on? How have things been going with work and stuff like that, or just in person though?
Work, it's been work. I guess it's been okay. Not really doing much because of everything going on.
So yeah.
But it's going good. I make music, you know that, but just to be disclaimer, I write a lot, and I've been, when everything closed down and everybody got, we all got sent home for a while just to reflect on not getting the virus. I actually kind of reflected on myself and was like, this is the time to hustle. This is the time to really refine yourself and come out better than what you were. So I'm trying to come out better than what I was, and I guess I'm doing it.
So how's the process going with that? You were at 0%. What kind of percentage are you at now?
Ooh, we at a smooth 70. Like, we're passing, but we barely passing.
Yo, that's past halfway. You know what I mean? So
I'll take these good degrees.
You're
hopefully we won't snag it.
You're almost to that goal. You think so?
Yeah.
When you say you're right, like, was that your major in college? Like you?
Music itself, yeah. But I feel like when you say music, it's a little different than. Like, I guess when you're on the street and you talk about music, it's kind of like you think about like rap, you think about pop and stuff. And when you go to school for music, you end up studying a bunch of classical stuff. You study the theory behind all that stuff.
Okay.
And it's a lot different than what a normal person thinks. Like, I guess, for example, one of my aunts had talked to me about, did you ever study? You should know everything about Jamaican music. I was like, why would I know everything about Jamaican music? It's like, that's not me. That's not who I am. and they were like, But you're like, well, you said music. I was like, well, yeah, but like that's not the form that they teach us in. They teach us a bunch of classical stuff like Bach or whatever. So it's just like,
so
that's just
so when it comes, okay, so as a hip hop person,
okay,
do you know how to count bars?
I can spit bars. No.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Mixtape.
Mixtape
coming, baby.
Big 2023. Give us some time.
We gonna wrap it up.
Give us some time.
Let it marinate.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I can, yeah. And then I work with some people. I guess I'm more easily into like pop and stuff, and sometimes jazz.
Mm.
So I have some pop tracks that I do with some people, and some of them are pretty okay. Because I'm real hard on myself and real particular about things, but they're pretty okay.
Yeah, you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
So, when you said, okay, I'm going to go to college, and first of all, what put you in that state? What made you love music? Because obviously, you had to love it to want to go to school for it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Because personally, I feel like if I'm learning something or if I'm like studying something, I have interest in it. You know what I mean? And interest comes and it has to grab you to say, hey, you know what I mean, study me or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so where do you say you came interested in music?
I think in elementary, I guess kind of a backstory, because you and I are from the same hood. To be very clear, the literal same hood. And for my in elementary school, my elementary school was saved, quote unquote, by the VH1 Save the Music program. So VH1 had that program, and I always saw it on TV, and I was like, well, I don't see them saving music. And then our school got the grant, and so we had like a little band in elementary school. So I started that really early. So it kind of got me really interested in music. So I started with like little percussion stuff and piano, and then just filed through every instrument that I thought I would want to play. So I think my passion for there came from there. But I think upon like high school, like in graduating and stuff, it was kind of like, so do I really want to invest a lot of me into it? And originally I was kind of like, I don't know, I could probably do law, because a lot of people get like wrapped up in some crimes and stuff, and they serve time that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Shout out to a bunch of people that are doing that, because that really is real. But I ended up choosing music because it's something I really like to do, and I think it kind of acts, whether you study it or not, or whether you are in band or just love music. Music can be the saving grace for a lot of people.
Yeah. Like music for me, it's like therapeutical. Like especially like, it's crazy because like it's crazy that you say that, because me listening to like Jay-Z, listening to Tupac, and these are artists that, and I don't want to say are irrelevant, because you still got Jay-Z dropping fire,
Yeah.
And I think music could identify with us without us. It had a voice for us without us using our voice. You know what I mean? Because what we were listening to in music, we were going through at home, and it was kind of no way for us to express it, but we heard it. So that's what gravitated. That's what we like. That's as far as me. That's why I gravitated towards these type of artists. You know what I mean? Like I like storytelling artists. I like, there's some times where it's like, yo, be in the club and it's cool to listen to stuff like that. But to me, it's like I like the music. It's not like other music that I love it. You know what I mean? That helps me like go through something. So, what school was that you said they got saved by behind the music?
Yeah, VH1 Saved the Music. It was Gates Elementary in San Antonio ISD. Even like I'm advertising for them. Enroll today. But yeah, I did that, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, going back to what you said, but music, dude, is crazy, because music is like the ailment to the pain that you feel.
Hey,
and sometimes music can affect you in ways you never knew, and resonate in your soul in a way you never thought.
Especially when you sit back and listen to the lyrics and listen to what people are actually saying, and and yeah, man, it's just crazy. So, pretty much at a very young age. So this was elementary, right?
Yeah.
So what middle school did you go to?
I went to Gates Elementary, middle school. Oh, we're Gates Middle School. Same district, because we stay true to SAISD. But yeah, same.
I was Edgewood ISD. So
funny how things work out. and it's also funny we live in the same neighborhood. So how?
They had said that Edgewood was like the poorest district in San Antonio.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, hell yeah.
What y'all eat for lunch?
we had bad. The pizza was the best lunch in my opinion.
What was the worst lunch?
Shit, you know.
The sandpaper.
Hey, real talk, probably that. But yeah, they had said that Edgewood was like one of the lowest budget school, I guess, and that's why we never really got what other schools got. You know what I mean? Like, but they had we had little. We never had much. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like you go through that, and like it is what it is. So, high school, what like.
I went to Brackenridge High School.
Brackenridge, yeah.
And I will rep Brack all the time. I really will, because like, definitely like a bunch of gang activity in the school, but at the same time, like if you remember, sometimes you just remember you have your best memories there or your worst, which I'm sorry if you did.
Yeah. For real, right? Yo, some of them had it good, some of them had it bad.
Mm-hmm.
That was like I went to Kennedy High School in the West Side, So now they have like a gate around it. Looks like a prison, like real talk.
Because you did go to a prison.
And it was crazy because my cousin had went to that school too. Like a lot of my people in my family, they went to either Kennedy or Lanier. Back in the day, that's what it was. And my cousin had told me that the principal, he used to be like a warden for a prison. So when he got to that school, he's like, yo, this is what we do.
Perfect job for him.
So yeah, that's what it was, man. That's how it was out there. But okay, so you've been in college for what? How long you been in college for?
We're not gonna talk about it because I'm gonna be sad. But let's just say we've been in here longer than what we needed to, and longer than what it should be. But we here, we surviving and we thriving.
So when it comes to you being in college, like there's ups, there's downs. What would you say is an up, and what would you say is a down? Not from the outside looking in, but as someone inside looking out.
I think one of the biggest ups and downs that is the same thing. It's kind of like when you self-reflection. I think a lot of times you look at yourself and you see, especially with music, because music is so critically analytical, that sometimes you look at yourself and be like, I freaking suck. I suck at everything. Or sometimes you can be like, I did it. I succeeded. I thrived.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the biggest positives and negatives about that, and which is kind of the same thing. Another worried thing is like you're always worried about money. Because money don't grow on trees. Granted, they kind of do, but that's a different story. But so sometimes you always like striving for money. Like when they say starving artists, sometimes that's more true than we like to think.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes we just poor.
So when it comes to that, as far as and you're gonna struggle, and you don't have the means to make it and whatnot, what keeps you in college and what keeps you in that position?
It's funny because I think one word really kind of personifies word of the day. Everything is kind of hope. Like you no matter what you do, music aside, we have hope for a better tomorrow. And it was like when you make music, I feel like there's sometimes you make music in hope that it'll affect somebody, so it'll resonate with somebody. And I think that hope is really consistent with like, I hope that in the future I'll be able to not only like kick butt, but maybe I'll be that teacher that I wish I had, or the teacher I did have,
mm-hmm.
or that pivotal person in your life that'd be helpful. And I think that's kind of the fuel that keeps the engine kind of moving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, man. You gotta have hope. If you're not believing in yourself, like who's gonna believe in you? And it's kind of like not like a cliche or anything, but you gotta believe in yourself. And it's crazy because when you get to a particular point, that's when everybody wants to believe and be like, "Oh, I saw it all along," but at the beginning, no one was there to
mm-hmm.
give you that. And I guess that's why I do what I do when it comes to my podcast. Like
mm-hmm.
my podcast is me giving people their flowers, their roses, while they're here, they can smell them.
Mm-hmm.
And why, like, I don't feel like something has to happen to anybody to be in contact with someone. Just like we were talking earlier, like if it's a birthday, if it's something like that, I'm gonna personally text. I'm not gonna go to Facebook. I'm not gonna do what everybody else does. If I have a personal connection with you, or if I have a personal relationship, or we homies, we friends, whatever the situation is, I'm gonna show that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to come back, because a lot of times I never do anything to get anything back. You know what I mean? Like, and I think doing things, you never could be let down. You know, like
Yeah.
you're not expecting anything back, you could never really be let down. Because when you're expecting it, that's when one thing I learned is people let you down. You know what I mean? Like
it got really dark. No,
hey, it is what it is. You think, but it is what it is. That's life, you know. So, okay, I was talking to you. We've been planning this for a while, and like earlier, you made a comment where you were like, a lot of people are in jail that shouldn't be. So, you, as an African American,
that is I.
in the year 2021.
That is the year.
How, and we're in America, the United States of America. How
You didn't know.
how do you feel? How does it feel for you to go to the store? You know what I mean? Because just if that's a fair question.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. Because I guess we in 2020 everybody had this woke thing about this racial oppression that African Americans are facing, and I was just like, y'all just realized this? We've been facing this for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was 2019. And I'll tell a short story and I'll try to water it down. Long story short, I went to a HEB, shout out to HEB, and I went to go pick up broccoli because we live by vegetables and stuff. So I picked up some broccoli, and I guess me and a taller white male kind of walked at the same time, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me," and I opened the door for him to get the broccoli, and then he ended up calling me a freaking N-word, and then he tried to spit on me and then walk away, and then I was like, "Not at a HEB." I never didn't happen to no HEB.
Yeah.
And then I guess I was like, "Excuse me." I was like, "Would you like to repeat that?" So with all the white confidence he had, he repeated it, and then it kind of got into a verbal altercation in the freezer section at a HEB. And I guess a bunch of people, fortunately, this shows us good in the world. The people around us were I guess talking to the dude hey, there's no need for that, blah blah. Definitely letting him know that what he said and how he was communicating was not okay, and stuff. But if this that's an example of showing that this is still a thing in the world. Some people don't really choose to show their true colors unless they're kind of forced to. I guess it's in a lot of things. You're kind of forced to show yourself through opposition, and some people don't come out the right way.
No, I hear you.
So
I had no idea that happened to you.
Oh yeah, I don't really talk about it because it's not it's not. This sounds awful, but it's not it's the first time.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, dude, it happens all the time, and that's why I really worry about driving at night. I don't like to drive at night too much because of the color of my skin. Because if I had to count last year how many times I got pulled over, I would say about 6. And and I'm always super worried because I'm just I'll call. I guess in my fraternity sometimes I'm gonna say we have a black chat with all the black people in it. It sounds dumb, but there's one of them that I'll call when I'm getting pulled over. I'm like, "Hey, I'm getting pulled over. I'm gonna mute myself. Just put yourself on mute and just you just watch and just in case something happens."
Wow.
Because I'm always super worried. And I think I have really high anxiety when that happens. So it's just because I always worry that I'm not gonna make it out the other side.
Man, you see, that's crazy because one thing about me, I always tell my fiance, I've been harassed by cops.
Yeah.
And it's similar, and it's not, and of course, it's not every cop is an ass. Every cop is, you know what I mean? Not every cop is bad. It's not about that. This conversation has nothing to do with anything like that. This is your experience, my experience, and it's crazy because I never thought other people go through that. You know what I mean? Because you hear it on TV, you see it on TV, but when it comes to face, when it comes to I know, like I said, I've known you for a while, and I never knew. You know what I mean? But you've been you for longer than what you've known me. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
And and it's the same thing. Like, and it's crazy. That's why we kind of like not click. You know what I mean? But we have similar backgrounds, and it's like wow, like because me and my cousins, we used to always get harassed. Like whether we were at the mall, whether we were getting pulled over, whatever. You know what I mean? But so when you say how you feel, do you like talking about stuff like this? Is this like a chance for you to get it off of your chest, or would you rather keep it bottled, or how does that work?
It's well, I'm open to talking about most things. If I feel uneducated about something, I'll definitely be like, hey, I don't have enough knowledge to really have this conversation. I never mind talking about stuff, although I do worry. Like I guess us being like people of color, like it's easy for us to talk about stuff because we face a lot of similar oppositions. A lot of similar persecutions. Although I will notice that I got a lot of calls from Caucasians about like, hey, I'm sorry all this stuff is happening to you, but I was kind of getting flooded with those calls.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was just like, y'all, this like, I mean, I don't need y'all to call me to reassure me things will be okay, because I'm still a hopeful person about most things, and like, I guess it just kind of threw me for a loop. I'm like, dang, y'all don't need to call me about this. Like, I don't know. I think calling about it is fine, but like, your actions are indicative of who you are. So as opposed to just talking to me about like, hey, being hopeful, maybe going out and do something about it might be more constructive.
No, I hear you. So how do you feel about the whole like the Black Lives Matter? Like are you for that? Because I hear it's good, then I hear it's bad because of the violence.
See, and it's funny because I feel like, so here's a question for you before I answer your question. When you hear the negative stuff about it, do you hear it from people that are not just people that are not supportive of it, because clearly, but do you hear from people of a different financial class, like a upper class?
Well, I do a lot of news stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I do like a lot of my
news sources.
Yeah, like I do like news sources, and of course I follow similar, like not similar, but like I follow YouTubers that kind of break things down for me. And ultimately, when they break it down, they're not kind of judging it. They're kind of just giving a story.
Yeah.
And then like they give this story, and then they'll give another story. So it's ultimately just kind of what I like. It's with the knowledge that I hear. Like I said, like because not just with that, but on other things as well. When it comes to like just the whole the whole Joe Budden podcast.
Yeah.
Joe Budden was right, but then of course now there's more sources coming out giving the other person's side of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's just like news sources that I go off of, and I don't really not in a bad way, but I don't really talk to people about this. Like I feel like it's a sensitive subject for people, and that's why I would rather talk about it in a responsible area like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in a conversation and someone passing by hear one word and want to jump in and then give their opinion, and then it goes to another person, then you know what I mean, it just spirals out of control. So if I'm going to have a conversation about it, I'm going to have it in a controlled environment, because I feel I'm learning. I want to learn. Like, yes, I've gone through things myself, but it's not aimed at me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of in the middle. Like, not in the middle of this, but in the middle of kind of everything. Like, you know what I mean? That's just the way I feel. That's why I'm on the outside looking in, wanting to understand that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. I see what you're saying. It comes from a very neutral place. But I guess my opinion on it, and just to water it down and be really to the point, is I think I'm in support of it because I believe in it. I definitely get the statistics of the violence, but not all the violence is, or the majority of violence isn't really caused by people of that movement. It's caused by people that are not in that movement.
That get placed in there.
Yeah, or that show up there. It's really interesting, and I don't want to say a blanket statement. People can research on their own, But it's really interesting how many people were there that caused these issues, that caused these acts of violence, that were not in support of Black lives, which I kind of think, because a lot of them are peaceful protests. I guess because I went to one, and it was just, it was just a protest, It was just because I had the same thing about wanting to learn and wanting to grow and wanting to see what things were about. So I was like, well, the best thing to do is put yourself in it. So like I went to a protest, and a bunch of people were just protesting against the opposition, the racial opposition that people face, and it was no violence, at the one I went to.
And that's the news for you, because the news will show you the violence, but they don't show you, over here on this side of town, we had a peaceful, and that in a lot, like I was talking to a couple of people, and that's what it comes down to. Like they want us to hate each other, but in reality, if we had a conversation, we'd probably be willing to high five each other. You know what I mean? Be willing to be like, hey, need help with your tire? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but it's also indicative of what news source we're watching too. And I don't want to go, because this is definitely a pitfall. But some news stations that I'm not going to call out, Fox, are very they like to cultivate a story. And I think people who, I guess watering it down, just be cautious of what news source you're getting your news from.
And a lot of, like, when I listen to news, I listen to more like YouTube. And for one, these people that have these YouTubers that do what they do, they put time into this. It's not them just bringing you a story just to bring it, because it's like a news station, they hire people. Yeah. So if that person messes up, they could fire them. They have an image, but yet it's Fox or CNN. When it comes to a YouTuber, their image is more on the line because it's more one-on-one. You know what I mean? They're the source. They're the ones that are looking up the story. They're the ones that are bringing the story to us. You know what I mean? And that's why I kind of go off of YouTubers. You know what I mean? Because and it's not just someone like, I think, this person just started doing this. And little do I know, I go back in their history, they've been talking about this for the last 5 years. They've been giving their opinions and trying to give facts as much as they possibly can, but it's like now a lot of people, like a lot of sources, especially if you're a YouTuber, you get access to specific things. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're Marvel, you get access to stuff like that. So if you're doing gossip things, you're getting access into things of that nature. You know what I mean? Just the way with other sources as well. So that's why, not that I don't really watch the news that much. I don't really have time for it. Yeah. Like, real talk. Like, not that I don't choose to watch it. I just kind of don't have time for it.
You're busy.
And so a lot of times, to me, I think YouTube is like YouTubers, and I'm not giving all of them the credit because some of them do be BSing. They put a headline just to kind of bring it to their page, and like what they call the clickbait. You know what I mean? They call it clickbait. So, but I never try to be one-sided with everything. That's one thing about me. Like, I think the opportunities that I worked for, I've earned. You know what I mean? And I understand that you have to put in the work to get something out of it. You know what I mean? So I guess for me, I don't understand it. That's why, like, I think if I went to work and said, hey, I'm going to go protest, they'd probably look at me like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but
why?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I have to be at work. You know what I mean? And
you mean like leave work too?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, and then too, like me, I'm about hustling. I'm about making money. So I prefer to make money. But that's why that's why I ask these questions, and I want the input. I want what you like. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you went to that. So what made you want to go to that? What made you want to like stop what you were doing for the day? And how long were you out there?
Just to be clear, if you have a job and you want to go to a protest, go to that job. You will be fired. For real. And do not call me, because I will not assist you, because you should have went to work. For me, it was just the desire. Well, if there's a way to, we're in a situation where it's kind of like, this is the change. This is something kind of revolutionary for our time. So is COVID. But, whether you can be a part of the change or not a part of the change, it's up to you. Whether it be good or bad or whatnot, it's up to you to choose, pick your fate, Yeah. And I would rather say I was there than not. Let's think about like MLK or whatnot. And because, people protest, they march or whatnot. And I'm sure the people of all our races were like, you have a choice to march. Would you want to march for that freedom and equality, or would you choose to just stay home and watch it on TV? And I was like, you know what? And I had friends that are really gung ho about going, and I was like, you know what? If they got that energy, that positive energy, and they're like, I want to go help make the difference, then it's contagious. So it's like I want to do it too. So I would, you go with them, stay there for about 8 hours, which I thought we were gonna be there for 3 or 4. So I definitely was like, I'm thirsty. I was like,
so you're kind of ready to go.
I mean, I brought water, but I was still like, man, we out here, and then things happen. But like, yeah, it was still like a good experience. And I think people are still like doing what they can in reference to that. And even if you're not, what do you call it, protesting, you can still support businesses. And it's one thing I do. And like not just supporting black businesses, but also local businesses. Because that's the thing. Granted, that's not like Black Lives Matter thing. Support local business. But I'm trying to put these plugs in for people.
Like, he's plugging right there.
I was like, DM me if you want to plug.
For real, right? Like,
what kind of plug?
We go live. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just sometimes little things add up to big things.
So you've just gone, what, to one?
I went to, please hold, 3?
Oh, wow.
I think it was 3.
What, in San Antonio or?
Austin.
All of them were in Austin?
Actually, 2 were in Austin, and then we went to one in San Antonio.
Man, I haven't really seen anything that big in San Antonio.
Oh, dude, like, honestly, though, like, I had left, and speaking of the San Antonio one, I had left, but apparently that one, like, turned not really great. Like, there was a lot of destruction of property, which I'm not really, like, about, but, like, I get the rationale about why some people were like, well, blase, blase, blase. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I'm not gonna break the windows of somebody who might also be a minority that worked really hard on their business. Like, if it's a barbershop. Have you ever seen Barbershop the movie? Have you seen Barbershop 2? I think it's Barbershop 2, where they had that flashback where they were trying to
where Eddie?
Yeah, it was Eddie.
Like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm not gonna be that person.
That's why he has his chair for free. Like his chair is for life. Like what he makes is his. Like the barbershop.
Exactly. Barbershop too. Back in business.
And it's crazy because like we're seeing it, and we're seeing it faster because of technology. Back in the day, it was similar, but it was more of like a turtle's pace, you know what I mean?
With newspaper.
Yeah, and now it's going at a rapid pace times 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if a story happens, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's mostly when it's bad, you don't really hear of. Like when you think about it, you don't really hear you hear good things, but it's like you gotta find it. You know, if I don't know if that's just like, because I feel like when it comes to like what's negative, they just want to throw it in your face. So I don't know. I just think so. It's this. So I say that to say like it's not new. This is what we've been going through is not something that just happened overnight and said, hey, this is about to go down. You know what I mean? Like like even with like the virus and stuff like that. Like there's been viruses before this. You know what I mean? And I don't know, man. Like I always the way I always tell myself, Shawn, is like if you don't have to like what people think, or you don't have to think how people think, but hey, just respect the person.
The differences, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Agree to disagree. You go your way, I go my way. Everybody goes their own ways, but it's not like, I don't feel like when it comes to like the putting down and stuff like that, like that's where it's like, yo, man, like why?
Yeah.
And I just feel like like, why waste that negative energy? Like, why waste that energy? Yeah. Like that energy could go into something positive. And like I said, man, like that's why Landon on Mars podcast is the dopest podcast in the galaxy, because I give everybody their flowers. You know what I mean? Like I want people to know, like, yo, man, it's okay to speak on how you feel. It's okay to say what you gotta say. You know, like I said, man, like we come a long way and we still have a long way to go. You know, so it's not over. It's not nothing that's just gonna go away, like with the snap of the finger. You know what I mean? It's something that. It's something that we continue going. So right now when you go home, are you gonna be scared to go home?
No, because I live very close.
Okay, there you go. So
I'll be fine.
That's what I like to hear. But so, do you get home at a specific time, or do you prefer to be home at a specific time, or how does that go for you?
That's interesting. An interesting question. Like I guess I don't really put a label on it, but like, I'll be home probably around 8. Like I'm not like, like shook to drive. Like if I have to drive, like I was like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do at the end of the day, and and a lot of the like 90% of the time, nothing bad's gonna happen. It's just sometimes that 10% is really like concerning. So like a lot of times I'll get home probably if I don't have to leave, I don't leave. If I can order it, I will. But like I'm not too scared about it, but I'm very what's the word protective of that time period. So I'm very cautious when I'm driving. We drive speed limits. We make full stops. Not rolling stops.
Yeah, I don't really be. Yeah, that one of the a road stop got my brother in trouble. I think it was my brother and my cousin, and ever since then I never really do a road stop. It's always stop. Make sure you stop. Mm-hmm. Even it just stop. But yeah, man, and like I said, that like just to hear that, it just like makes me like because it's like I said, man, like in another like on a normal day, I wouldn't have a conversation about this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, why are we gonna be chilling and then just say, okay, we're gonna talk about this? So that's why I said, like, I like to do it in a controlled environment and controlled space where I'm letting you speak your opinion. You know what I mean? So
yeah, we talk.
When it comes to that, how does that make you? What's your view when that type of race, like because obviously you're not a racist person. So when it comes to like the race that does it to you, how do you respond back to like just normal people that you know? Am I making sense or am
I think you are. Let me see if I can rewrite it. Are you asking about like how I react to people like of other races that don't really see the same?
Yeah, or like because you have friends that are not just African American.
That is true.
So how does that make you look at them a specific way or?
That's interesting. I don't think so, because I think I just see people for who they are. Mm-hmm. And like some of us are born. Not saying that we're colorblind, because some people are colorblind. But like it's just like I kind of just see people for who they are. Like I think I firmly always believe that our differences are kind of what makes us unique, and sometimes seeing those differences kind of is really something great. We might not see eye to eye on something, but like we can try, and I think sometimes the middle ground you find between two people that see things different can kind of be this kind of beauty,
mm-hmm.
and watering it down even more to people. Us, we're different races as well, and like we have you have African American people like food, even watering it down to food. Mm-hmm. The differences in the style of the food, like from Mexican Americans or Mexican or African American. Like they are unique in themselves. They're different, but they're different. But because they're different, they're unique in their very own way. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I see people. And talking about issues, sometimes it's kind of hard because you don't. You definitely, even after talking, a lot of times you probably won't understand somebody like fully, and you definitely will probably still disagree. And it's okay to disagree, but it's also you have to know you have to be able to walk away with the sense of like we didn't agree, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But also with the hope of like we see each other's point of view.
Yeah. Understanding where someone's coming from and they understand where you come from. And
yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah, I always think going home is the most important thing. You know what I mean? Like you could have a little argument, but when it becomes violent, when it comes to that point, like, and the way I feel too about arguing is like, it's like a quote that I always say from Jay-Z, like, a wise man told me don't argue with fools because people from a distance can't tell who's who.
That's a good quote. When you were making that quote, I was like, what Jay-Z quote he about to tell me? I literally had the worst Jay-Z quotes in my head. I'm like,
what was your quote?
I don't want to say it.
What was your quote?
I was like, the first thing that came in my head was 99 Problems. I was like, I don't think that's a quote, but I mean it is. But
a BA1, you think? Nah, man. Like I said, there's another one that like I think I have it on Instagram where it says the genius thing that we did was not give up, and it's like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Because like when you start like, and like I said, if you agree to disagree, then it is what it is. You both get to walk away, but. Yeah. If you have an argument with someone and then people from the outside could instigate it, and you know what I mean, someone could have that male ego to be like, nah, I'm right. Like, have to prove that they're right. You know what I mean? And that's what like I feel like when you're arguing, you don't really say much.
It's interesting because I think you described a person whose mindset is unwavering, and I think for you to talk to somebody and want to work something out, or let's talking about a problem that you're gonna work out with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just say, I don't like the fact that you wear yellow shoes, so let's talk about it. If you're going with that mindset of like, I don't like it, so it needs to change, and you're unyielding, then that's a problem too. Because like, if you're not open to change or not open to understanding, then you're not really trying to work a problem out. So, because you never know, what if your opinion is the reason I wear yellow shoes are in memory of my mom because she loved yellow.
Yeah.
And every time I see my yellow shoes, I think about her.
It's more deeper.
Yeah.
It's more than what's at the surface. It's something deep. You know what I mean? And and there's people that are like that. It might not be a specific yellow, but it's a color. You know what I mean? Or something that reminds them of someone. But yeah, Shawn, and like I said, man, this is something that, like I said, 42 minutes. I said about 39, 37 because we were like BSing at the beginning, but
we never BS. We all.
But nah, man, like I said, this is like a little series that I told you about. We talked behind the scenes, and one of the main things was wanting to show off where we're at. You dig? Shout out to Danny's and Barbers. This is our new location for the Landon on Mars podcast. Had to throw my what are they called? And what did you say earlier? The punch-ins or I don't know, the ads, whatever.
Yeah,
know,
show up.
But,
they take appointments.
Yeah, so and if you make an appointment, make sure you show up, and if you're not gonna show up, just give them the heads up. But so that's why. Back to the podcast, but that's why this one was like important to me, because like I said, man, like I've known you for a really good while, and like it's like we had talked about, we lived kind of next to each other without even knowing we lived next to each other, and then we come to San Marcos. We both make our way to San Marcos, and it's like, yo, like I never knew anybody from San Antonio at that specific time. You know what I mean? So that's why for us to be able to sit down and us have a talk about this and us discussing what just our point of views, and like I said, everybody, when you're a celebrity, when you're this and you're that, everybody wants to listen to you. You know what I mean? Like, you always have an opinion, you always have a view on what's going on in the world, but this is a regular person right now. Eventually, he's gonna be something when he graduates. He's on the path to being bigger than what he is right now. So that's who I care about. You dig? Like, I care about the everyday person, and like, if you have the hope to be able to go do what you have to do, someone that might have the same fears as you could be like, hey, I'm gonna do what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, just watching yourself and, like you said, protecting each other and being there for each other, because you can't want change if you're not willing to change. So it's like I'm never gonna use my platform for any like BS. I want to bring positivity to the world. I want to have a talk. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it. Let's put it together. Let's chop it up. You know what I mean? Let's do it. And that's what Landing on Mars is, man. Like, I know this was part one of more parts coming, and at this particular point, what do you got to say right now?
In relation to
this, in relationship to what we were talking about today.
Dang.
We kind of talked about music. We kind of talked about.
It's okay. Well, it's funny because the first thing that came to my head was, listen to Jay-Z. Jay-Z has some bangers. My favorite thing about Jay-Z is not actually just like the stuff he says, but his features are really dope. So if you find a song that features Jay-Z, like, he throws some really nice lines in.
Yeah, real talk.
Going back to the everything else, I guess times get hard, you get harder. So do your best you can to follow your dreams. If you fall short of your dreams, you're trying. At least you tried. Yeah, like he was like, do you have anything else to tell them? I'm like, I don't know. Pray. Like, nah, but
pray.
But yeah.
Hey man, it's always a good thing to pray, man. You gotta be close to God. Without God, we don't got nothing. And I think that's what a lot of people miss out nowadays. I'm not a religious person like that, but of course, I know there's a higher power above us, and hey, man, you gotta believe in something. If not, you're gonna fall for anything. You did.
Yeah, I love that quote though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. That's one quote that I always like.
Yeah.
If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything.
Yeah, I remember I was in the studio one time when I wrote it, and now everybody.
Ew.
Yo, imagine writing a quote like that. Yo, man, that'd be sick right there. That's more beyond everything. And like I said, man, this is the new location, Landing on Mars podcast, located right here. We'll be shooting. Hopefully, we'll be shooting on Mondays, either Mondays or Tuesdays. This one might drop a little bit earlier because I got the footage ready, so I want to kind of get it out there, and I want to get this conversation talked about. And like I said, man, I just want to salute you, Shawn. Thank you for taking the time to come out here to chop it up with me. Landing on Mars podcast, you're welcome back anytime you want to come back. And of course, remember, you got to be ready next year. Got my wedding coming up, so you got to be there, make sure. And yeah, Shawn, I really appreciate it.
It's no problem. Quick comment. You keep talking about giving us these roses, but I have not seen roses in this room. So I don't know if are they doing FedEx?
I'll deliver them to you. I got you.
Cool.
So ultimately, like I said, man, just so you know that I respect you. Know you're someone that I care about. You're someone that I believe in. I know you're gonna go further in life, and of course, like you said, times get hard, we get harder, and we just gotta keep on going. And like I said, Landing on Mars podcast. It's your boy Nesto. It's your boy Shawn. Y'all have a wonderful night out there. Y'all be safe. We will be coming with some more heat. Y'all be good. Y'all stay up. Y'all have a wonderful day. Y'all love. Stay blessed.